All right, on this episode of Bowks Talking Bouts, excited to be talking to an individual set to headline BKFC 43, and that goes down on May 19th. We've got Jeremy Smith knuckling up and toeing the line against Houston Alexander, and great getting to have Houston back on the show. How's your day going so far, man?
Oh man, yeah, it's already started off. We got people outside my house cutting down trees, so it must be spring or summer coming up pretty soon.
Yeah, for sure, some changing seasons, but certain continuity in this fight, just with it being another hometown main event and everything like that, and Omaha, and being at the Liberty First Arena and stuff like that. I know you were saying last time out, it's like there's a bit of pressure that kind of comes with that. Like, how's it feeling with like another hometown, like Nebraska main event, just centric in Omaha for you there?
I don't know if I was a betting man. I think the Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship was kind of trying to use me to build their their company in the Midwest through Nebraska through me. But no, it's actually pretty cool that we're fighting back in Nebraska, because for a long time in my career, we had a lot of people asking to see me fight live, and usually it would be either out of town or overseas, and so it's great to be, to me, now, and while having fun doing it in front of the hometown.
Yeah, I love to hear that. And the last time was obviously quite a big win there. I mean, finishing a former BKFC heavyweight champion, doing so in the second round there and whatnot. And, you know, you were already doing well at cruiserweight before that, but I think that win definitely, you know, served you in a certain regard too. Like, what were the main takeaways from that last one there, getting the win over Joey Beltran in November?
I think the main takeaways, I believe, from coaches, I think jab, 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 jab. A lot of times with this type of fighting, you know, they want, you know, you got to stick to your basics, and you got to make sure you stay sound and fundamental. And so I keep hearing from the coaching staff is jab, jab, jab.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious because, like, one of the things we were talking about before that last fight, it was, like, you know, tied to the MMA history you guys had previously. Did this feel like an entirely new thing, though? Was there, like, a sense of redemptive element to this one, just getting a victory over someone who had, you know, beaten you previously, or was it, like, a clean slate, different sport scenario?
I think it's the clean slate, different sport scenario, because, you know, at that point, with MMA, a lot of people were already scared of my striking anyway. You know, striking / boxing. They were already scared of that. You know, so that's why they would always challenge me to take me down. So, I think that, you know, I don't think it was any type of redemption thing. You know, it's just, to me, it was just another fight. You know, I don't think I get my kicks off of, oh man, I just beat this guy. This guy that previously beat me. Now, you can't look at it that way, because change is inevitable. And that person might not be the same person you fought years ago. So I think with me, you know, it's just business as usual.
You know, it's kind of alluding to, like, what that did for, you know, your placement in the rankings a bit after just being number 2 ranked at cruiserweight as of this recording, and also some favorable positioning pound for pound, and, you know, top 5 at heavyweight.
I'm just finding out through you. I'm ranked second somewhere.
Yeah, you're the number 2 cruiserweight in BKFC as of this recording.
Well, you know what? Through you, I just found that out, because, you know, I don't pay attention to stuff like that, man. I just have to go out and fight.
I guess I'm curious, just within that question, like, because sometimes I'll talk to BKFC fighters and their motivation is more akin to, I guess, fighting, you know, the toughest challenges at each particular juncture, whereas some kind of have, like, more of a, I guess, you know, title path kind of route and stuff like that. Like, where are you at in that kind of binary? Are you more someone looking for, like, the, yeah?
I think it might be the opposite of all what you just mentioned, because I think I'm on the fun tour. I'm just having fun, man. I'm just having fun, doing what I love to do, and you know, I think with that being said, my path is not necessarily trying to get the title. It's not necessarily trying to be ranked number 1. I think for me, it's just having fun
Yeah, and I'm curious what that fun is rooted in because, I mean, it seems like you've got great camaraderie with the people you train with, so there's like a certain communal element to it. Obviously, the vacuum of the competition is incredibly exciting. Like, what is it that's like particularly like stoking that fire? Is it like multiple things, maybe?
Well, I think I think the fact when I'm in the ring, I think I'm just a different person. So it doesn't matter what the situation is outside the ring. I said, well, once I get in the ring, octagon, square, circle, however you want to call it, I think I've become a different person. So my motivation is me. You know, I've always been self-motivated, and I've always had this competitive edge within myself, man. So I don't think it's any factor outside of that. I think it's just me, period.
Yeah, because a previous interview I was seeing of yours, it was talking about how much you enjoy like a certain level of conflict, like specifically physical conflict, and you've always been very oriented to that.
Oh yeah, hey, man, I think, and again, sometimes I have to watch it when I'm dealing with people outside of the ring, because you be that touchy feely guy that not in today's age you can't do that. But I think physical contact, whether it be any type of sport or anything outside of that, you just gotta watch it to a certain degree. But I'm a physical person. Communication wise, obviously I can communicate through words, but a lot of times we communicate through physical communication as well. And I think I'm a little bit of both.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, different lanes that you communicate, both like you said, like as an orator and through what you're doing physically as an athlete. But I did want to talk about something I was seeing recently with the Houston Alexander Foundation. I was noticing the Culture Shock school tour going on, and just a lot of great videos from that, man. I'm curious to get some specifics on that from your end. That seems like very fulfilling, like obviously something you've been doing for a while, but can you speak to, I guess, just this specific recent jaunt that you've been on?
Oh man, with the Houston Alexander Foundation, our purpose and the reason why we even started the foundation itself is because I've been in the hip hop culture ever since I was a kid, and my understanding of the hip hop culture, even coming up, was that it was about peace, love, and it was about unity, and kids are not growing up in that atmosphere. They see a lot of violence. They hear a lot of the negative, because even with the negative and some rap music, there was always an alternate to the negative, which was a positive. And so, my job is to go into the schools or any type of community organization or anything that has a setting with children and teach them about the positive aspect of a culture they're growing up in. So we got kids that know nothing more than the hip hop culture. So, we just want to make sure we want to go into the schools specifically and teach the kids about the art form being about music, dance, and art. And when you see these kids who might not do good or well in school, and you will see them coming up volunteering to beatbox or to dance or to do certain things they wouldn't normally do in class in front of a whole entire school. So, our whole cause is to go on and teach the kids about hip hop culture and to teach the kids respect. That's another thing that we really emphasize on today's kids, because respecting your parents, respecting your teachers, and respecting yourself is part of our theme as well. So, again, the hip hop culture is about music, dance, and art, and a lot of kids now, because of what we're doing, know that.
Yeah, and it kind of like ties the two things together in a certain sense, because there's obviously a lot of facets of hip hop culture. I mean, tying into what we were saying before with like how you can express yourself physically and also through your words. Like if you're an MC, you can also do that with your words, obviously, but certain like dance elements of the culture too. So it seems like a perfect kind of synergy there.
You're right. You have rap, which is words, and you have the b-boying and popping and locking, which is the physical. So you're right. There is a correlation between that and fighting, because I've always told people before, fighting to me is like dancing. There is a certain type of rhythm and a certain type of choreograph you have to have when you're fighting. Same as b-boying.
Yeah, well articulated. And speaking to, that next dance here, I'm curious as to, what intel you might have on Jeremy Smith. Like, are you someone who's, like, getting in a certain level of tape study even with a coach, or is it more you're just going out there and adapting as it kind of goes along and using your own skills?
You know what? I think, fighting is like dancing, and you do have to adapt. It's like playing, and we were talking about that now. There's a certain song that comes out, your body moves a certain way when you're breakdancing. And when you got an opponent, he might do the exact opposite of what you saw on film. So you have to learn how to adapt, and you have to learn how to kind of freestyle a little bit. But you know what the premise is. You got an athlete in front of you. You know he's there to whoop your ass. So you just need to go out there and adapt, and you need to know what your abilities are as a dancer or a fighter, and you execute them. So that's it. And I think with me, my mentality is, I'm just the aggressor. I'm the guy that likes to get in there and just navigate the whole entire fight, man. That's what I would say.
Yeah, I guess I just thought to ask because this fight looks like it's very action-oriented, at least on paper. Like, you have a great track record of, high-octane fights, and it seems like the bulk of, your opponent Jeremy Smith's bare-knuckle fights haven't really gone the distance. So I would say it's a safe bet to say that this one might very well end inside the distance, if I were to hazard a guess. Jeremy's he's a great athlete, man. So when anybody that, and I said this before as well, anybody that gets in any type of square circle, round circle, any type of circle, rectangle circle, man, you got to be some type of athlete, man. So you got to expect the unexpected with anybody. And that's what I do. I expect the unexpected with anybody, man. I don't take anybody for granted. Yeah, for sure. Definitely comes across in how you approach everything. But you were kind of like having a laugh a bit earlier, talking about how it seems like BKFC is almost like using you to kind of like encroach into, this market and everything like that. But, I mean...
You think, Dylan? You think? But shouts out to them, man, because, again, I think... I got to give them big, credit for actually taking a chance with an old man such as myself. But it's just I don't see myself being an old man in the regards that I always take care of my body. I'm still competing at a very, very, very high level, and and if it's helping to usher in the next generation of fighters, man, let me be the vessel.
Yeah, for sure. I think age can be very lifestyle informed and stuff like that. But I was kind of talking earlier about like some of the, I guess, close bonds you have with some of the people you get in work alongside with. And last time we were kind of talking about, that bond with, Josette Cotton there. And she's readying to kind of defend her title next to in BYB pretty soon, as of this recording. Have you been getting in some, good work alongside her as of late, just with you both having bare knuckle camps and everything?
She's on her own path right now, and that's the thing. And sometimes you have to go on your own path to make your path. And we haven't trained in a while because we've trained so much over the years that I kind of know what she's kind of up to as far as mental preparation. But she's got her own path, man, and so I enjoy watching her own path from the sidelines. And when I see her like I did a couple of days ago, it makes me proud that I helped her in some aspects to where she's stronger mentally. I think fighting is physical, but I think it's more mental than anything because people can give up in a split second in the ring because they're not mentally strong. And so to watch her from the sidelines, man, it's actually, I'm proud of her.
Yeah, for sure. I love to hear that, but it seems like there's no shortage of great work had. Like, it seems like you're at Mick Doyle's gym getting in some good sparring work a fair bit, so love to see it.
Oh, yeah, man, and that's another thing. I've tried to go to different gyms in my community, man, to show kids that and to show kids who are up and coming that this is what it takes to be a pro. This is what it takes to achieve what you need to achieve in a game, just like rap, Diller. There are so many rappers now that you can't, you have to do the outrageous just to stand out. There's so many fighters in the game now. You have to be super good just to stand out. So I'm just showing these kids a path to get what they need to get.
Yeah, and cool how you do that through a few mediums, like obviously leading by example with just, what you're doing. But the last time we were also talking about some of the endeavors in radio and, DJing and stuff like that, which I could relate to as well. So yeah, it's awesome that you kind of have your hand in all these different projects and seem to pursue each thing with almost like a commensurate level of like passion and focus.
Oh yeah, man. And if what did they say? Just like you're doing your podcast, or just like when you're doing what you're doing right now. If you enjoy doing it, what is it not? It is not work, right, Bill?
Oh yeah, it's incredible.
I work.
Yeah, no, definitely something I very much appreciate and everything like that, and always trying to, keep growing with that and whatnot. But yeah, you've been really great with your time, man. It's been fun getting to, have you on the show and talk a bit again ahead of this big fight. But, definitely want to be mindful of your schedule, that being said as well, man. So is there any...
It's fine. It's always great talking to you, man. And again, I appreciate the fact that anyone wants to talk to me, because you never know when this will come back around. And I'm glad this has come back around to where I'm getting the type of light that I'm getting for other people's benefits. And I see it as self-promotion, but I see it as promotion for other people who are around me, to make sure they get, they come to the forefront maybe one day through me.
Yeah, that's an awesome attitude, man, and that very much is the impression I get from you, just wanting to really uplift other people as you're kind of on your individual journey. Is that something that has always kind of, been a part of your character and stuff like that? It seems to be like something that's, been your focus, or I guess mentality, for a little while.
Well, you know what? And this is, I think a lot of people can agree with this statement. Next man up. Next man or woman up. The next man or woman up. And that's always been my mentality, to uplift the next man or woman in any situation.
Yeah, it's a great attitude, and yeah, I love having you on the show and speaking to the, next man up in a competitive sense. We got Jeremy Smith coming up on May the 19th, but curious if there's any final...
I want to uplift Jeremy. No. Jeremy, unfortunately, I don't want to uplift you, buddy. I want to put you down. Oh man, we do not want to uplift Jeremy in this fight.
Yeah, I feel like he's got a...
That was a good one.
Yeah, I feel like he's got a very different trajectory relative to what you're talking about with your, desired outcome and all. But just wondering if maybe there's any final parting thought you might want to kind of add as we're wrapping up here that maybe we didn't touch on, Houston.
But you know what? I think the fact that you got people still following my journey, and I think people still looking out for myself. And the people around me, and the people around me still supporting me, whether it was then or whether it was now, just making sure that the people who I love, family, friends, and fans alike from all over the world, man, it's just amazing to me that I've had this great life, and I've always had a great life from my start in hip hop to now with any type of MMA or even going into schools, teaching the kids, or teaching people, in the gym. It's always been great, man, to see everyone's love for anything I've been involved with, man. And so I love and respect that. And especially when you got coaches like Joe Bodler, you got Alexander, you got Mick Doyle, you got, Ryan Jensen. You had all these coaches I've had over the years that I took a little bit from and made me into the person I am today. And which is weird because I feel like I'm a better athlete than I was when I first started, Dylan. And that's crazy at 51 years old that I feel that I'm a better athlete than I was when I was 29. So, the foundation is going well. The Houston Alexander Foundation is going well. The fact that we're on a certain path that's going well, I've just been really blessed. So talking to you today is a blessing all in itself. So Dylan, I appreciate you.
Yeah, mutual sentiment on my end, man. I've been watching you fight for a while now, so it's really intriguing hearing that you feel just the best you ever have athletically, and very happy we get to see that next at BKFC 43 on May 19th against Jeremy Smith.
So this would be a great way to end your interview by saying two words: colon cleansing. That's probably the best decision I've had in the past 2 years, getting my colon cleansed. And for you as an athlete, and people, and I suggest anyone that's an athlete to do that, man. Get your colon cleansed where you get all that crap out of your intestines and your colon and your liver, and that to me that helps you bring up your energy. And man, it's just crazy how the small things that you do internally to your body that would help you physically. So that in itself, colon cleansing is something I suggest everyone do, including yourself, Dylan.
Well, I didn't necessarily think we'd be talking about this, but a great mention all the same.
Hey man, any way to get the health information out there, man. I'm telling you that's something that I think everyone needs to do, especially with all the bacteria and all the toxins that we have in the air, in the food, and all around us, man. So I think it's just great for all of us to do something to help ourselves health-wise.
Yeah, for sure. Good tip and very, health-minded. Definitely something I'll look into, but very good getting to talk to you, man, and you have a good one.
Dylan, clean your colon. Shouts out to be Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship, man. Shouts out to my coaching staff and to all the sponsors, friends and family and fans. Thank you so much, Dylan. I appreciate you, brother.
I appreciate you too, man. You enjoy the rest of your day, and looking forward to peeping this fight when it goes down.
Well, hey, we'll see. I got a few more interviews, but I'm training 3 times a day, and let me go outside and make sure these people aren't about to knock my house down with the trees they're taking down.
Well, all the best there, and yeah, you have a good one, man.
All right, Dylan, man. Have a good day, my man.
All right, on this episode of Bowks Talking Bouts, excited to be talking with an individual set to headline BKFC 43, which goes down on May 19th. We have Houston Alexander getting out there, knuckling up and towing the line against Jeremy Smith, and great getting to have Jeremy on the show for the first time. How's your day going so far, man?
It's been very good. Thanks for having me on the show. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome getting to finally talk to you. You've been making waves in the promotion for sure, but I guess I'm just curious, what the initial thoughts were when this bout offer came your way, because you're a guy who's obviously experienced in a few combat sports, and Houston Alexander has a certain level of combat cachet, a known guy, former UFC veteran and all. So what were your thoughts when this bout offer initially came your way?
Well, Houston Alexander is obviously a legend in MMA, fighting UFC. He's fought Kimbo Slice. He's fought a lot of the big names in the UFC. It was a huge opportunity to get it. So I was happy with it. I was like, what? This is a nice big step up. It's a headline of a card. It's what my career needs to push it further. It was I seized the opportunity with both hands. I said, do it. Whatever you want, I'm ready. So,
Yeah, and a lot I want to, get into with this fight, but I feel like I'd be remiss if I didn't at least touch on, the last one there, just getting that victory at BKFC 34 to close out the year in December, and getting that, third round stoppage over Leo Valdivia and everything like that. And I mean, per your post-fight chat, you were talking about wanting a step up, which seems to have, been the case for this one. Seems like that panned out, but curious to, I guess, get your main takeaways from that last fight.
Well, the last fight good. You're a good opponent, very good movement. He was very good at hitting and going out, so I could actually make it ugly, like make it a dirty fight. And that worked in my favor, so that's what I'm good at. And then, obviously I wanted to step up. I wanted to get on the main card. I headlined the card. Well, not headlined, I was on the main card in Albuquerque. I fought there. That was in August. So I wasn't the main card there, but to headline a card is it's a huge step up, especially after how big BKFC is going and how many waves it's making, especially after this last one in Denver, Colorado. That's, it's going massive. And now to be headlining two cards later, it's the right time for me. So I'm happy. I'm very, very happy. I've been training really hard for this because I know it needs to have my mark in the organization.
Yeah, and I mean, you talk about what the promotion has been doing. Like, it seems like you've really gotten into the sport at a perfect time to kind of coincide with that. Like, just seeing that you, like, relatively recently got off a run of, having 4 fights over a 12-month period, and that kind of encompassing the entirety of your bare knuckle run so far. So definitely, keeping busy, and this being the first bout of 2023 here. Like, are you looking to, stay a bit more active this year too? Like, are you looking to have that kind of strength of schedule that you had before, or like what would be, I guess, the desired?
I want to get as many fights in as possible every year because I just want to go with it, and obviously, just keep active. It's more important. I don't want ring rust. I don't want to sit in. I don't want to have to sit outside on the sidelines for X amount of time. I wanted to get in as soon as possible. Even this year, I wanted to fight earlier, but they gave me this opportunity instead. So I was like, well, hell yeah, let's take this because it's a headline. It's a big name to beat. So I want to fight. I want to be active. That's what I'm good at. I like fighting, and I want to keep up and do as much as I can.
Yeah, I was seeing a previous article you were, within, like, you were featured in, and it was talking about how much bare knuckle was just a perfect fit for you, and like you wish it was around when you were younger. I guess I'm kind of curious, like, when did?
Yeah, that's true. I really do. Yeah, that's perfect fit. Obviously growing up in South Africa, it's a different type of culture growing up. We do a lot more, I guess you could say, like street fights, whatever. People have more fights back home. It's generally a thing. We're just more aggressive people. Like, we play rugby and this and that, and people get drunk at the bar and have a punch-up. It's a normal thing there. And obviously, like, so I did the MMA and I did the K1. But, like, I found my home with bare knuckle, with BKFC. It just seems like it's a great fit for me, and I'm a great fit for the organization.
Yeah, and it's cool to see, like, you talk about, like, where you came from and stuff like that, and it seems like you've represented that well in, mixed martial arts and stuff like that with, like, EFC and whatnot, like, holding their, middleweight hardware and stuff like that. So I imagine that would bring you great pride to now be, I guess, continuing to represent it at such a high level in another combat sport.
Oh yeah, it's great. Also, I'd love to get it to get a show back on in South Africa. It would do amazing there. Like I said, everybody loves combat sports back home, especially like this. It's raw, it's real. And I got a lot of fighters who do MMA now, or have they're still doing MMA, but they would love to do this. They also kind of got fighting, so not necessarily professional fighting. So yeah. I think it'll do really well in South Africa. It would be a massive viewership to get, and I think if you want to get into Africa, South Africa's the main way to go, infrastructure-wise.
Yeah, and I mean, they've been making great strides with getting it regulated, not even just, domestically in North America, but, just globally, like efforts in Europe and Asia. So, I mean, I feel like it's probably an inevitability and everything like that. So I imagine that would excite you. Like, I mean, not a, defined timeline on that from what I understand, but just it seems like the global expansion has been going well. So yeah, I feel like Africa would be a logical place.
Yeah, Africa is good. It's a nice big market. It's an untapped market. There's a lot of talent there that's not tapped into because of obviously the infrastructure and the poverty level in Africa is obviously it's hard there. So people don't have a chance to do sports. Like You look at Francis Ngannou, he got out of Africa, but he's one person out of how many millions of people that made it out to fight. Like, there's a lot of untapped talent there that's not, like I said, untapped talent. Like, he could really open up a lot of doors. A lot of very, very good, skilled people there. They just haven't had opportunities that are given to the rest of the world.
Yeah, for sure, and that's a great way to look at it. I feel like it'd be pretty easy to, fill a card out there, but some of the recent work that I've been seeing you get in, and at least kind of, per the Instagram, it looks like you were getting in work at Hard Knocks 365 with Coach Billy, but also saw you getting in some work with Howard Davis as well. Can you kind of talk about maybe some of the recent work you've done?
Yeah, with Howard, HD is the best. Such a good friend. He's a really good guy. He's got really good talent. He's a very skilled fighter. He's also not scared to get in there. He fights, I think, 155. I'm fighting at 205 on this card, but normally at 185. He's not scared to get in there and mix it up with me. He's a solid fighter, solid person as well. He's going to go very far in the sport. He's a nice guy to work with, and just a hell of a nice guy. Obviously, I get some good work in with Ryan Perez, obviously my trainer there. He's, BKFC, the BK cheat code, as he's called. Obviously, working with Billy as well, that old school Philly training techniques. Yeah, they work well. Also with Chuck Easton as well, helps out. So, getting some good work here. Obviously, I'm based in America now, so obviously traveling and stuff's a bit harder. Just coming from South Africa. It's a long flight. It takes you about 37 hours to get you. I was commuting, and that's not fun, especially before a fight. So I'm based here now. So I train up there, and then I also train out at the KO Zone in Miami. So, good facilities.
Yeah, for sure. And I was seeing a post a while ago getting in work with Joey Beltran when he was more actively competing in BKFC cheat code and whatnot. So yeah, getting in some elite level work across the board, it seems like.
Yeah, I did a lot of sparring with Joey. Joey's tough as fuck. He's fucking tough, man. He's fucking tough. Yeah, he's tough. He comes forward. He's got good pressure. It was pretty much his last fight, but yeah, I don't know. Let's see if he decides to keep it hung up or not and decide to come back. I think, as a fighter, we always have one more in us. So I'm sure he's got another one or two in him.
Yeah, and you kind of talk about, toughness and everything like that. I feel like that's, obviously there's, a lot of technique and fight IQ to this sport, but I feel like that's a, big variable too. And I feel like there's been, some instances in your career where you've showcased that, in the, Joe Ray fight and everything, with the broken orbital bone. Was that
one eye? I won that fight with one eye. He cracked my orbital in round 2, and that one went to points. So I won on a split decision. So, yeah, toughness has always been. Listen, at the end of the day, you can be the best fighter. If you get hit, when you're not tough and you crumble under that, it's going to hurt. You're going to stop. So all that talent kind of goes out the window. You got to have some sort of toughness in combat sports. It's combat. You got to be tough, whether it's mentally tough, physically tough. You just got to have some sort of toughness.
Yeah, well said. And I feel like your adaptability has been very noticeable in bare knuckle, because the debut under, the BYB banner, it wasn't any kind of, blowout loss, obviously. It was one of those things where you were talking about how
cut, and then I wiped my eye and they said, "Oh no, you can't see." I was like, "Oh, I can," but whatever. It happens. Everything happens for a reason. And then I got the BKFC opportunity straight afterwards. So that for me was a bigger platform for me to jump onto and fight. So I've had better opportunities, not saying for everybody, but for me, I've had better opportunities under BKFC, and Dave's a hell of a nice guy. The BYB guys are great guys as well. They're a great organization, right? But BKFC just for me seems like I found my home there.
Yeah, I would definitely agree, having seen all your fights under that promotional banner. But I guess what I was kind of alluding to was, in that initial one, it seemed like there was a certain takeaway of okay, even certain seemingly, casual strikes, as it were. Like if it was in like an MMA framework, it can cause like certain, fight-ending cuts. So it seems like the adaptability and learning curve was there after that.
Literally, that one skimmed my eye. I didn't even feel the punch. It was like his knuckle skimmed the eyebrow. And I was like, okay, I split open, and that cut was bad because it literally just skimmed it, like a two knuckle split open right there. And I was like, shit, okay. It's not like, obviously I knew it wasn't like MMA gloves, but it's like, okay, if that was MMA gloves, nothing would have happened. But because it was a bare knuckle, it literally split it. It's like, all right, now you've got to be extra tight, extra careful, move the head a little bit more offline. You can't have anything touching. You've got to be a lot more controlled and a lot more focused and tighter with everything you do. Like you said, a punch that's not even that devastating or effective or that hard, but it can cause a cut that can stop the fight.
Yeah, for sure. And something you were mentioning earlier, just with this one not being at 185, like I saw you had a post a little while ago, like talking about when you were on weight at 185 the last time out and how the hard part is over and time to have fun. With this being a cruiserweight bout, are you feeling just that much more replenished in this camp? I would think that there would be a big difference in the energy levels and maybe how you even curate the camp a little bit. Is that the case?
Well, I don't have to water load. I'm not having to cut weight. I'm not really having to diet like strict, watch everything I eat, cutting out carbs at night. So it's a lot. It's a lot more. It's a lot easier to do that. It's like, all right, cool. You're training hard, and I can have a bit more carbs, which is nice. A bit more protein. You don't have to stress so much. Like right now, I'd be water loading, cutting out dinners, like having to drop off weight. Then I still have to wake up and then still drop another 5, 8 pounds on the day, just sweating it out. It's fun. It's nice. It's different having to not cut weight. Feels like they're completely different. I've always cut weight. But the nice thing is, so he doesn't cut much weight either, so I'm not cutting much. I think it's going to be like 5 pounds or something like that, which is not much. So it's cool. It's easy. You can just walk in the block, literally cut out dinner the night before, wake up, maybe go for a light jog, and that'll be it.
Yeah, I love hearing that, and I feel like this is, a great opportunity in a lot of regards. And I mentioned his, MMA past before, but Houston Alexander also with the 3-0 BKFC record like you have. Like, what are your thoughts on what he, I guess, specifically brings to the table and, like, the, BKFC ring? Like, what do you think, like, stylistically he brings to the table? And I guess, what are your thoughts overall on the run he's been able to have so far?
Well, it's 3-0, 3 knockouts. So, I know, everybody knows Houston Alexander's a big puncher. Like, that man is. And you can say whatever you want. He's a little bit older, I'm also older. Your power never goes. And age, that's the last thing that never goes. I got some friends back home, also a little bit older than him even, and they hit you, you're going to go to sleep. So I've got to be cautious of that power. I've got to look out for it. Like, you don't want to get caught with that. That right hand of his, I've seen when he does people for that. So, yeah, look, he's going to bring it, and I know he's coming to fight. He's a warrior, he's an athlete, he's a fighter, just as me.
Yeah, and I was talking about some of the cool aspects of this fight. Like, obviously, the, stylistic aspects you guys bring to the table make it exciting. But just with Houston Alexander being ranked number 2 at cruiserweight right now, and I feel like it's kind of like a bit of a wide open field right now as far as who could be, that next contender or even the person right underneath. Are you kind of like looking at that facet of this fight? Like, does that part of it excite you? I mean, I think it would, but...
No, of course it's going to excite me, but my focus is beating him. Then after that, we can look about rankings and all of that stuff. That's, yes, there's the ladder to go up. You've got to go up a stepping stone. But right now, I'm not considering about that. I'm focused on him.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely a stiff test. I guess I was kind of like thinking about how I mentioned earlier when you had the EFC middleweight title. I guess I was wondering if like the motivation for capturing a title in BKFC was kind of the main focus as like a long-term goal.
Obviously, like my goal is obviously going to be a title. Obviously, my goal is a title. I didn't just come out to have fights. I want to become a champion, and I think every fighter who ever enters a fight, his goal should be becoming a champion. So that's what my focus focus is. So yeah, I know he's a stepping stone. He's one of the stepping stones in the way for me to get to the belt. So right now, my full focus is on him. And then after that, we focus on the next one.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I mentioned the multitude of combat sports you've been in with 16 pro MMA fights and a wealth of amateur and, you know, pro Muay Thai experience. And I'm kind of curious to that point, like, how do you...
18 MMA fights, 12 K1 fights. Professionals. And I did amateur Muay Thai as well, K1.
Yeah, I was noticing in an interview you were saying it was like almost over 50 fights, like including amateurs, so a wealth of experience. But I guess just in mentioning that, I'm wondering like how much your, I guess, you know, methodology of approaching a bare knuckle fight differs from some of these other combat sports. Like, are there any unique aspects of bare knuckle preparation that maybe wouldn't be in an MMA camp or a Muay Thai camp, K1, that sort of thing?
I think it kicked in the leg, which is quite nice. Obviously, that sucks. Yeah, like obviously you can focus more on the boxing aspect of it because you don't have to wrestle, jiu-jitsu, kick, Muay Thai, all of that stuff. It's a combination of it all together. So I get to focus just purely on the boxing. Boxing has always been more of a passion for me, the boxing. So I think it's, yeah, obviously you're going to be conditioning your hands a lot more, but in MMA you're still going to condition your hands, and same as in boxing you're still going to condition your hands, or K1 or whatever, because you're still going to punch somebody, whether you got a glove on or not, their hands still break. So you got to condition them. So, yeah, you might condition them more in the bare knuckle, but still going to you got to focus. So in this one, and obviously your head movement's a lot different based on that. In K1 you can't really dip as much, and in MMA because you got to worry about the knees and everything. So your training camp becomes more focused on the boxing side of things. So you can spend more time doing head movement. Obviously, your footwork's a little bit different because, again, you have to worry about getting kicked or taken down.
Yeah, and I guess talking about the hand conditioning, because I know some people will do, like, the wooden Muay Thai board work or, like, you know, gripping sand or, you know, gripping the rice, like, different things like that. Like, do you do anything of that nature? Like, I guess what kind of tactics do you use for the hand conditioning?
Punch those big, heavy bags that have a lot of leather in them, or sand, punch that, punch the wall soft. And also, I've been fighting for quite a while, my hands are pretty conditioned already. Obviously, we just keep it conditioned. When you're punching things, they're going to get more conditioned. So, yeah, hitting a heavy bag, but a very heavy bag, solid one, that one works as well. It gives a little bit of give, which is nice. Obviously, punching a wall, you don't want to be punching a wall full on because you're still going to develop problems like that. So rather just punching it soft and consistently, that's how you're going to build up condition.
Yeah, no, for sure. And, yeah, no, I appreciate getting to, you know, get some great insights from you ahead of this fight, man. I guess one of the kind of like last questions that I had, because, I mean, certain fighters that I talk to will, like, pretty actively, I guess, practice, like, visualization and stuff like that. And I guess if you're one of those fighters, like, do you have a particular, like, consistent visualization, like a predominant idea of how maybe you see this fight playing out? Like, are you kind of visualizing it in any particular regard or not so much?
So the thing is, with visualizing, you're going to visualize a million ways that it can go. Yes, I've got the way I want it to go, but it's a fight. Anything happens. I've got my game plan that I'd like it to go that way, and if it does, great. We're prepared to go that way, but we're also prepared for every other circumstance that can pop up. So with the visualization, you've got to prepare for those circumstances as well. So yeah, I do a lot of visualization, but also I believe in my training. So if I'm training hard and I've been training correctly, I'm ready for anything that's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, good to be adaptable, and sort of ties into something I was noticing in doing my research on you, and as far as I got to see that you met, you know, Mike Tyson last year, and he has that classic adage of, like, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face, so maybe that's a bit of a part too.
That's true. Everybody does until they get hit on.
Yeah, no, for sure, man, but great getting to have you on the show, like I was saying, but I do want to be mindful of your time and schedule too, Jeremy. So to that point, is there any final parting thought you might want to add as we're wrapping up here, man?
I just want to thank my training partners and my coaches, Ryan Perez, Billy Patton, and then obviously a big thank you to Dave Feldman for giving us this platform to show our skills and our talents and to do what we love. Obviously, all my sponsors as well that help me through this and support me. So yeah, that's it. And thank you for having me on the show. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Mutual appreciation. Definitely enjoyed having you on, and was excited for this fight against Houston Alexander before talking to you, but definitely, compounded that much further. And yeah, very much excited for BKFC 43 and looking forward to May 19th. But until then, you have a good rest of your day there, Jeremy.
Thank you very much, and thanks again for having me. Have a nice day, bro.